The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Mary Silla Kelleton.
And I'm Terry. Join me for sports news later on in the bulletin.
In this edition, school head suspension unrealistic, hospital not meeting standards, and PNG Hunters pre-season trial match. The Catholic Professional Society PNG has called on the Education Secretary to rethink his directive to suspend school heads who are charging and collecting school fees and project fees. CPS PNG President Paul Herricknen was referring to Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra's directive as unrealistic.
Catholic Professional Society President Paul Herricknen said year school subsidies do not reach schools on time, where they are forced to run on empty for almost the whole year before the funds arrive. He called on the Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra to rethink his directive to suspend school heads who are charging and collecting school fees and project fees. Mr. Herricknen said that any suspension of school heads questions the Marape government's policy slogan of leaving no child behind when children's education is delayed and jeopardized. He added that many parents are not prepared to pay for school fees because of the government free education policy, but schools, like all other institutions, cannot run without essential funds. Mr. Herricknen called on the government to change its language of will pay and pay the promised TFF funds by January to all school accounts. He said schools cannot continue to operate on promise. He called on the government to consult with education service providers such as churches to ensure best ways forward. Jumaima Sugba, TV1 News.
The Special Parliamentary Health Committee on Health Matters yesterday inspected facilities of the Gerehu Provincial Hospital, noting the lack of proper infrastructure needed to operate at the level that is required from the Level 5 Provincial Hospital. The hospital has a manpower of 300 medical professionals, including specialists. Sadly, this manpower are not being fully utilized due to the lack of proper facilities. The Gerehu Provincial Hospital, qualified as a Level 5 provincial hospital a few years ago, has a list of key clinical services not available at the facility. The hospital was meant for urban clinic and only received the Level 5 status for purposes of establishing the new NCD PHA. On Thursday, February 2nd, the Special Parliamentary Health Committee on Health Matters inspected facilities of the Gerehu Provincial Hospital, noting the lack of proper infrastructure needed to operate at the level that is required.
Very, very hardworking team, despite a lot of challenges in terms of infrastructure. So what we look at today from the report that we are hearing, they got all the specialist doctors were here. All of the local staff, more than 300 something. 300 I'm running on level 4, level 5 hospital. 300 staff can run around, that's enough. With all the specialist doctors who are running on sustaining operation on level 5 of provincial hospital. So, sad workman problem. Infrastructure problem. So, by really think long, one mission is Salakama Folsen. There's a report given to us by them. This hospital was built some years ago, located in a population of 200,000 population. Today, population I'm approaching close to 1 million.
NCD-PNG Chief Executive Officer Stephen Yeni thanked the committee for their visit, stating the importance of the cooperation that is needed to take place between all relevant entities to ensure the hospital is operating at the level that it needs to.
We have adequate workforce, minimum to maintain a service. But for a provincial hospital like Geru, we like operating theatre, delivery ward, special care nursery, ICU. And if you employ a surgeons to work as here, surgeon would be useless. We're trying to do minor procedures like incision and all that, and they'll become bored. So having this kind of facility which is established in a provincial hospital can also add in the provision of care what a provincial hospital should be able to provide.
Midwife Clancy Yawakian appealed to the Health Committee to build a labour ward for the Gerehu Hospital. The Special Parliamentary Committee on Health Matters have suggested a restructure of the Port Moresby General Hospital. This call comes after the committee's inspection at the hospital yesterday.
Port Moresby General Hospital is a Level 6 hospital, supposedly a referral hospital for special cases across the country. However, over the years, the hospital has been burdened by the influx of patients from NCD, Central and Gulf. On Thursday, the Special Parliamentary Committee on Health Matters inspected the heart and cancer facilities at the Port Moresby General Hospital. Chairman of the Parliamentary Committee, Elias Kapavore, said the hospital cannot continue to assume the responsibilities of a Level 5 hospital, calling on the NCD Provincial Health Authority to step up and cater for its patients in the city.
Let us be honest to ourselves. You need to start look at where you are today, what is for. Level 1 must go back to Level 1. So reorganize. You're going to reorganize this place, reorganize. Today, you've identified more and more services that are supposed to be done by Level 1, Level 2, Level 3, Level 4, get them out of this hospital. You can continue to put our staff under pressure.
He said this too will push NCD to see firsthand the immediate needs of the hospital. Jumaima Sukbat, TV1 News.
A pregnant mother who was turned away at Modilon Hospital in Medan gave birth inside a police vehicle while being assisted to Yagaum Hospital. Yesterday morning, First Constable Alfred Kamba, who was on duty travel to Medan, was flagged down by members of the public to help the woman in labor. Marian Ismail from Tapen village in Rai Coast was at the bus stop with relatives trying to catch a bus to Yagaum. According to Kamba, while he was driving Marian and her relatives to Yagaum, she delivered the baby in the back of the car. Marian later told the police officer that while she was seeking help at Modilon Hospital, she was advised by nurses to go to Yagaum. However, she had to catch the bus because the ambulance was out of service. The official appointment of Maprik District Acting Chief Executive Officer now puts to rest confusion among public servants and the people of Maprik. Stanley Mangulik was appointed as the district's acting CEO on Thursday, February 2, 2023.
Member for Maprik Gabriel Caprice said it is important that the district has in place an administrator to ensure the public service machinery is working smoothly to provide vital government services to the people. He was speaking during the official appointment of Stanley Mangulik as the new acting CEO for Maprik. East Sepik Provincial Administrator Samson Torovi revoked the appointment of former Maprik CEO Joshua Imina. He said the position of acting CEO for the district will take effect until the selections processes at the provincial level are concluded to determine whether Mangulik would still continue to serve in that capacity. Mr. Mangulik assured Torovi in the presence of the Provincial Human Resource Manager Alphonse Kami, member Gabriel Caprice, senior district officials and the provincial administration that he is ready to serve the people of Maprik. Jumaima Sukbat, TV1 News.
This is TV1 News. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more stories after the break.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
Open Banks.
We see you day in, day out, getting on with the job. Coming out on top because you're not one to back down. From the islands to islands, from the southern to the north, we see you moving heaven and earth to move our country forward. And at the end of the day, we will be there to serve Papua New Guineans who achieve success with the reward they deserve.
It's Smile O'Clock. It's Smile O'Clock. Gotta brush our teeth. Time o'clock. Did you have a nice day?
Real good.
Hanging out
in the neighborhood.
Had some dinner, now it's time to relax. Put on some PJs after taking a bath. Wanna read a story, but look, it's Smile O'Clock. Gotta brush our teeth.
Time o'clock.
Before it gets late,
yeah, all of us.
Everybody's happy when we brush.
Smile O'Clock.
Smile O'Clock. Time o'clock. So brush.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him, Olgeta.
I want to remind you that life isn't about living in the moment.
Teamwork makes the dream work. There is no I in team.
You are an unshakable leader as you establish your values today.
My encouragement to you is discover God, because God then gives you your purpose. I hope that encourages you today.
My name is Lance.
And my name is Kaylee.
And we believe in you.
Welcome back. Trukai Industries commenced its second True Adventure Hilux draw in Leh today. The draw was conducted in front of a large crowd at Raumai 18 at Main Market.
Trukai Industries conducted its second draw in Leh for the True Adventure Hilux promotion. In front of a large crowd at Raumai 18 at the Main Market, a police officer pulled out the lucky winner's name and handed it over to the FM 100 crew to call live on air. The winner answered using the winning tagline, Emi Trukai. The team is now verifying the identity of the winner. Momase Regional Sales Manager Clint Hamay said the True Adventure promotion was one of Trukai's biggest promotions of the year.
It started early in December and ended end of Jan. So basically it was promoting of Trukai Rice, which is our biggest brand. And we had 4 vehicles for each region to be given away. One already given in NGI, the other one today in Leh, and then we have another 2, one for Highlands, and the other one, last one, will be in Southern region, in Port Moresby.
Hamay said Momase region received 7,800 entries, while NGI had around 4,000 entries. Entries for the other 2 regions will be known when Trukai continues with its True Adventure draw in Mount Hagen on the 7th of February and on the 10th of February in Port Moresby. Susan Oriape, TV1 News.
Turning overseas now. Papua New Guinea's election results are still being contested in seats across the country more than 6 months on. After a poll marred by violence and corruption, Transparency International says the administrative challenges are the worst they've seen. ABC's Natalie Whiting reports.
Months after her colourful election campaign, Delilah Gore is in court contesting the result. She wasn't voted into Papua New Guinea's parliament last year, but she may get another shot.
So thank you to the voters and supporters. The victory is theirs. They fought for it and they are now getting the answers.
The former MP polled third, but challenged the result on allegations the vote was tainted by bribery. The court agreed a campaign coordinator for Government Minister Henry Amuli had paid voters and has ordered a by-election be held in the seat. But before any voters head back to the polls, the matter will be heading back to the courts.
He did not allow for bribery to take place. He didn't commit bribery. It is a third-party offence. We're filing this matter for an appeal to the Supreme Court.
More than 90 court petitions have been filed challenging the results in various seats. Some have already been thrown out or withdrawn, but many are ongoing and they can often take years to settle.
I think overall the administrative challenges posed more problems for the elections than we've ever seen before.
A bipartisan parliamentary committee has been formed to investigate the election issues, but improving the next vote will depend on the implementation of any recommendations it makes.
Australia's and the UK's defence and foreign ministers have met in Portsmouth for high-level talks overnight. The Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, says Australia needs a fleet of nuclear submarines to help keep the Indo-Pacific region stable. ABC's Steve Kennan with the report.
Correspondent for the ABC, Andrew Green, published a story last night suggesting that it was expected that the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, would be heading to Washington next month to meet up with US President Joe Biden and also UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and that the details of those subs, how they will be built, where they will be built and what kind of subs they will potentially be revealed there and then. We've had a few clues along the way. The UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace said a while back now, I think it was September last year, that he believed this would be a truly collaborative project. And that's led to some analysts suggesting that perhaps what you'll end up seeing is a new kind of class of submarine that is actually shared between the US, Australia and the UK. Now that is speculation at this stage, and it's a question that I put to the Defence Secretary of the UK today. Here's what he said.
Well, I think you'll have to wait for the Australian Cabinet to make its final decision on their proposals. And then I think then, it is for Australia to reveal what options it's settled for. Whatever the options are, and there are a range of them, it is a joint endeavour, whether that is the sharing of technology and the understanding of how to do it, the sharing of the build or the sharing of the design. So whatever option is chosen by Australia, it will be collaborative, and that statement stands.
Richard Miles said that when it is announced that it will be a huge moment in Australian history. Penny Wong had a few words to say too today about the importance for Australia and the region in having nuclear submarines. She said that she believed that peace and prosperity was a driving force behind Australia's push to acquire these kind of submarines. Here's what she had to say at that media conference.
Australia seeks a submarine capability and we are deeply appreciative of the collaboration which is enabling that to occur, because we want to contribute to the sort of region we want. That is why we seek it. We seek a submarine capability that is part of, along with other elements of national power, but centrally, in order to contribute to a region that is stable, prosperous, peaceful, and in which sovereignty is respected.
This is not just collaboration about nuclear submarines, this is collaboration about the war in Ukraine as well. Of course, in the last 48 hours, we saw all four of those ministers attend a training ground in southern England, where Australian troops and British troops were training recent recruits to the Ukrainian army in a 5-week intensive combat course before they go off to the front line in Ukraine. And that was once again a theme in those talks today about the importance of doing everything that Australia and Britain can do to help Ukraine in this war.
Shack owners along South Australia's River Murray are getting their first look at muddied properties which have been submerged by floodwaters for weeks. The cleanup of an estimated 4,000 homes will be long and difficult, and authorities say volunteers will be needed. But before that happens, river levels will have to fall further.
This is what is left of our shack.
In the River Murray town of Punyaru, Rolf Stanich is taking his first look at his shack.
Mud everywhere. It is shambles.
He expects it'll take months to clean out the mud and stink.
We knew that it was going to be really bad for everything inside, but when you actually come and see it for yourself, it's a real kick in the guts.
From the river, the damage is also clear. At Blanchetown, home after home is underwater. Streets submerged.
We've still got properties inundated. We still have levees being engaged, and as you can see, the flow is still very fast, so it's a pretty hazardous place to be still.
The River Murray may be falling, but the emergency's still ongoing.
We've been shoring up houseboats and pontoons, making sure things are still safe along the river, and being on standby for general water rescues.
Since the peak of the flood here in Blanchetown about a month ago, the water has dropped visibly. You can see by some of the water lines on the trees and houses here that it's dropped by at least a metre. At the peak, the river rose to 7.5 metres, more than 4 metres higher than normal, and it's estimated it won't drop off to minor flood level till mid-February. As the flood recovery coordinator, Alex Zimmerman is going town to town inspecting communities along the river.
It's highly likely that there'll be a large number of premises that will require to be demolished for safety.
He says volunteers will be needed to help remove debris. The exact number of homes and shacks damaged is still being assessed, but it's estimated to be about 4,000. Authorities are now assessing building regulations along the river in an effort to minimise the number of homes destroyed by future floods.
A powerful Aboriginal Land Council says it has lost confidence in the Northern Territory government after an ABC investigation which uncovered evidence of land clearing without a permit for the cotton industry. A major lobby group says the government has also failed to protect an iconic river. ABC's Roxanne Fitzgerald with the report.
Criticisms are mounting over land clearing linked to the development of a cotton industry in the NT.
We've just lost confidence. We're not anti-cotton, we're not anti-development, but we are really interested in seeing that the rights of Aboriginal people aren't trampled on.
Last month, the ABC revealed land is being cleared without permits, potentially putting sacred sites in one of the world's last untouched tropical savannas at risk.
Pastoral leases are areas where traditional owners have native title rights, and they've got a right to be heard and to be informed about what's happening.
The ABC investigation sparked calls for an inquiry, and a federal probe is now underway. And while the cotton industry says it's abiding by the rules, environmentalists say current regulations are inadequate.
Environmental decision making right now, it's weighted in the favour of proponents and corporations who are profiting off the destruction of nature and cultural sites.
Concerns are also being raised by the Amateur Fishermen's Association after images at Claravale Station revealed land clearing within 15 metres of one of the NT's most popular waterways.
The Daly River is our iconic barrow river in the Northern Territory, and it needs protecting.
In 2020, the NT government quietly reduced land clearing guidelines at the Daly from a 1 kilometre buffer to 250 metres, sparking fears of erosion and pollution.
Territorians entrust the Northern Territory government to act on our behalf. They have failed us in doing this.
The NT government says the land at Claravale was cleared in the 1960s before clearing permission was required, and insists its regulations are sufficient.
So we've enacted significant environmental legislation right across the Northern Territory, more than any other government.
The owners of
The CEO of a regional Victorian cemetery trust has been stood down over a ban on grave decorations. Cherished items and mementos were removed from graves at a cemetery in Bendigo and Bind, and the crackdown was set to continue until a protest by grieving families. ABC's Emma D'Agostino reports.
Tom Watts is heartbroken items have been removed from his wife's grave. He's visited every day for the past 3.5 years.
To do that to your precious loved ones, what they've done is just unbelievable.
He's one of hundreds of grieving relatives who have had items taken off their loved ones' graves in Eaglehawk, just outside of Bendigo. It's part of a crackdown by Remembrance Park Central Victoria, which runs 11 regional cemeteries on behalf of the state government.
The flowers and the vases and the soul lights had all gone off the grave, the ones that I'd painted. And I was just devastated.
This week, more than 250 Bendigo residents protested against the changes.
Save our memories. Why have they had to do what they did? Take everything off our graves, not one thing left on my nephews or my mum's, all gone to the tip. They were special things that can't be replaced.
It's forced the board of Remembrance Park Central Victoria to take action, standing down its CEO and admitting it could have handled things better. While Remembrance Park Central Victoria is again reviewing its graveside decorations policy, staff have been told not to remove any more items from graves. The board says it will look at where its processes have gone wrong to ensure it never happens again. But for some, the damage has been done.
You can't replace them, they're gone now.
I'll never get over what they've done.
TVWAN News continues after the break. Stay with us.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager, Bungum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Whether we're playing sport, exercising for fitness, being active for work or play, just having some fun, or just chilling, there is one name we can count on that we know will keep us going strong. Skell Rice. Healthy, nutritious, delicious medium grain rice full of vitamins and minerals. Skell helps us maintain a healthy, active lifestyle so we can enjoy every day.
Skell Rice. Skell Life.
I came from the remote part of Eastern Highlands. I have seen the laboring mother somewhere on the road coming to the nearest aid post to deliver a baby, and on the way somehow either the mother or the baby passed away.
We saw that his work was really specific in trying to find solution to the problem.
My wife, she's a midwife, and she said we have to build up a waiting hut so that we can accommodate those marginalized pregnant mothers. We all have a weakness and strength, and we must all hand in hand and then support so that we have a good community to live in.
I want you to win somebody's heart. That's Naren.
I never asked for your help with anything, Dad. Don't impose your expectations.
I'm going to be the one who makes the final decision here.
Welcome back. Back home now, Tribal Foundation, an active frontline advocacy organization that has been assisting women, girls and children who are survivors of sorcery-related accusation violence and gender-based violence, is conducting a transformational program called Senisimpasin throughout the country. The program is aimed at changing attitudes and behaviors of people around the issue of sorcery and gender-based violence through training of people who are willing to assist with the fight.
Tribal Foundation was founded in 2009 by Gary Bastin with the vision to see Papua New Guinea's full potential fully realized. It has worked on many successful projects and currently focused on 3 areas of focus: Senisimpasin leadership development, Senisimpasin anti-gender-based violence and sorcery accusation-related violence national campaign, and strategic medical projects. The campaign has a 45-minute film that is viewed in the communities to generate conversations afterwards, where communities are encouraged to speak their mind and take action to stand against gender-based violence and sorcery accusation-related violence.
But if I could just add about the Glassman bill, what we found is that we were trying to prosecute cases, and the Glassman's the one that's stirring everyone up and causing the problem. But then when we go to prosecute them, they would say, so they got off the hook because they didn't actually perpetrate the violence, they just stirred up the violence. So we had to have a link between someone who was accusing and the actual harm that was happening to the person. So the basis of the Glassman bill is that if you accuse anyone of sorcery and they're injured, you can get 10 years in prison and I think it's a 10,000 kina fine. If they're killed, then you can get life in prison and you don't have to touch them.
Bastin explained further that the accuser always gets away, so this law is to make sure that even though the accuser does not touch the victim, the fact that they point the finger of accusation will definitely catch them.
We have situations where there was a young boy that died at 8 Mile a few years back. You're probably aware of the situation. And he had a brain aneurysm. And then there was a Glassmary from Hela province that someone called and explained the situation, and they said, oh, there's this lady that sits out in front and does street market and maybe it's her. And so the Glassmary jumped on board with that and said, yeah, that was her. And that woman was tortured and eventually died.
In that situation, before the Glassman bill was, Bastin said there was no way they could prosecute the accuser who caused the death of an innocent woman. But now with the Glassman bill, such a person can be persecuted. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
Tribal Foundation Senisimpasin coordinator Yanamlim Yanas said during a press conference today that Tribal is focused on addressing gender-based violence as well as sorcery accusation-related violence. They focus on bringing positive messaging to communities in Papua New Guinea as well as addressing this very important issue that is happening affecting a lot of families and communities in the country.
Tribal is focused on addressing gender-based violence as well as sorcery accusation-related violence, and our focus is to bring positive messaging to communities in Papua New Guinea as well as addressing this very important issue that is happening or affecting a lot of families and communities in the country. And this campaign was launched in 2015 with the aim to reach all communities throughout Papua New Guinea and help them understand the value of every individual in the community, and then focus on helping men especially, because a lot of the statistics show that men are most of the time perpetrators. So the focus is to get men involved in the conversation and focus on good values.
The Lay Chamber of Commerce and Industry has issued a call-out for donation of unused children's toys for interview rooms in police stations. LCCI said the Family Sexual Violence units in Lay's police stations see some traumatic and sad cases every day. The interview rooms are stuck, and if the victim is a mother, often the kids just sit and wait for hours. If the victim is a child, they are bewildered, traumatized and broken mentally, let alone the physical damage. A campaign is underway with Dulux and a local artist, Eugene John, and a team of volunteers to repaint and put some murals on the walls. If Lay residents have any toys or floor mats that their children no longer use and can donate them to FSVU and particularly the victims, LCCI would be very grateful. The Morobe provincial government will be setting up its own TV station, which will be called Kumul TV. Governor Luther Wenge said 1 million kina will be set aside for this new TV station.
The Morobe provincial government plans to set up its own TV station called Kumul TV to compete against other existing television stations. Morobe Governor Luther Wenge said 1 million kina will be allocated to ensure that TV station gets its license to operate by end of 2023.
All TV, all half belonging foreign, and half belonging in foreign, all in Australia or outside belong Papua New Guinea. I plan the program and belong outside, foreign. No Papua New Guinea and be foreign. They come inside. Now me blow like him set him TV so that plan the sing play me, right? Plan the sing play me, plan the culture play me, plan the passing play me, good plan play me, plan the lotto play me, when I can style play me. You must promote him on TV.
Governor Wenge is going ahead with this idea despite criticism from the public, mostly pointing to the existence of the two state-owned television stations that the provincial government could utilize instead of spending taxpayers' money on another new TV station. Concerns have been raised that the Morobe provincial government would spend less by entering into a partnership with existing stations to promote Morobean content, as establishing a TV station would mean coming up with a corporate structure, the buying of expensive broadcast equipment and generating content, all of which would cost more than 1 million kina. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
Coming up next in sports with Terry, NSL set for grand final decider and Jiwaka native impresses. Taking us to break is the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SP Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Go for main engine start
T-minus 10.
We must confront the reality that nothing in our solar system can help us.
9.
I've got kids, Professor. How long would I be gone?
8.
I'm asking you to trust me.
I'm coming back.
I want you to win somebody's heart. That's Naren.
I never asked for your help with anything, Dad. Don't impose your expectations.
I'm going to be the one who makes the final decision here.
All aboard the Amazing Race Charter!
New destinations.
You're going to the Kingdom of Jordan.
New twists.
For the first time in Amazing Race history.
New season.
You're here for a reason, because you're great, so you be great.
The Amazing Race. Season premiere, February 7th at 8.
Ouch.
City Hall is back in business.
Today, I'm getting more done than Beyonce.
You can't say that.
The Hive is always listening.
Ted Danson and Holly Hunter.
I changed your lock screen.
God.
All new Mr. Mayor, Mondays and Tuesdays on Paramount Network.
Hey, easy, easy.
Oh, you took that like a champ.
Thanks for staying with us. In sports, with the PNG Hunters pre-season trial match against the Central Queensland Cappers now locked in for February 25 at the Santos National Football Stadium, Hunters coach Stanley Teppan has scheduled more opposed sessions to assess and try out combinations, game awareness, and how the boys can focus under fatigue and pressure. That's the strategy to get the team mentally and physically ready before they play Cappers. After 9 grueling weeks of pre-season training, PNG Hunters coach Stanley Teppan is impressed and excited with the prospects that the current squad can bring to the table this season. With only 3 weeks out of their first trial match against Cappers, Teppan has realigned the team's training strategy, which is more focused on real game situation by increasing the number of opposed sessions to get the boys' mindset working and combinations right.
We'll be using that game to get our combinations right, especially the spine, 6, 7, 9. There's a few changes there, so and just making sure that we are ready for round one. You know, it's a trial, but it'll put us in the right direction to make sure that we are ready for round one. So just making sure we get our combinations right in the lead up, and just putting in a solid performance.
Yesterday's training session was fast and highly intense, which included a 20-meter multi-stage fitness beep test. The test involves running continuously between 2 points that are 20 meters apart from side to side. As the test proceeds, the interval between each successive beep decreases, forcing the athletes to increase their speed over the course of the test until it's impossible to keep up. In the forwards, Francis Kembis was the last man standing as the fittest forward, and former Tumbe and Guria Fafet Saki Pira was the fittest for the backs.
It's important for us during training that although we cover a lot of kilometers in running and do strength, it's very important that we have those opposed sessions. I think that's why we had a squad of 26, so we can have 13 on either side. We work towards a certain plan during the early part of the week and then finish off with our pause. We've got one tomorrow, so that's a very key factor in our training.
With more opposed sessions and getting combinations right, Teppan again highlighted specific game aspects that needs fine-tuning, especially working under pressure, think quick on the run, and make defensive reads or calls faster because the game is more faster down there. With most of the players new, getting the combinations is very crucial, especially the spine in the middle.
A few more before the Capra, so It's just to get the boys thinking. We did a bit now this morning while under fatigue. They did a bit of running early on there, and everything's planned, so they think when they're a bit tired now. All those sort of things. So the approach sessions have been really good for us.
The grand finale of the 2023 NSL Men's Conference between arch-rivals Hekari United FC and defending champions Lake City FC is set to draw a massive crowd, including families, fans and supporters, to the Sir John Guy Stadium, Port Moresby, tomorrow. For the reigning champions of Ley, this is their third title defence against the man in red, which is expected to be a fiery encounter.
There will be no love lost between these two traditional soccer rivals, who will showcase some of the country's top international representative players go around. Both teams show their class and tenacity throughout the semi-final series, setting up this weekend's big showdown. For Lake City FC coach Bob Morris, he's looking forward to his third title against Hekari United, but it's not going to be a walk in the park, as the Moresby boys are also ready and determined to wrestle the title off them this time around. He said this is Lake City's 8th consecutive final appearance against Hekari United, which is a record in itself. Coach Morris, however, said they are here to defend the title, pick up the cup and go back to Ley. He said it would be a mammoth task for the boys, but they have prepared well, which should give them an edge over the home side Hekari. Morris said he respects Hekari United FC, but that should not stop them from giving their best shot against them. Hekari United coach David Muta makes his maiden grand final appearance, which is also very special for his young charges on the team. He is really looking forward to the challenge as he leads his boys against his own uncle Bob Morris, who is coaching Lake City. Muta said he would be relying on his captain Daniel Joe to lead his charges against the defending champions. Experience-wise, the Emmanuel Simon Lake City skippered side have the advantage in terms of grand final appearance to retain the title and spoil the party for the Red Army. Both coaches have appealed to all their supporters to come and support their team in true sportsmanship and let football win.
The Eastern Britain Rugby League Battle of Town series winds up with a big decider between Kokopo Marlins and Rabaul Ashes, scheduled for 2 p.m. at the Callabon Field tomorrow. In Game 1, Marlins beat Ashes 16-2 in Kokopo. In Game 2, Rabaul Ashes held Kokopo to a 16-all draw at full time, and tomorrow's decider will be a big game, which is sponsored by Agmark. Former Wagi Tumbe and Rabaul Gurias 5'8", Saki Pira, is relishing his time at the PNG Hunters Precision Training Camp. The Jiwaka native, who made a move to join the Eastern Britain franchise Gurias last season, was just the impetus he needed to get a second shot at making the Hunters after missing the 2029.
Voted 5'8" of the year at the 2022 Digital Cup Awards night, Gurias number 6 Saki Pira believes it's a divine blessing from above making the Hunters' final cut. It was second time lucky for Saki after falling short of making the team in 2019 under Matt Church. Saki first burst onto the DSL Cup scene for his local franchise Wagi Tumbe between 2018 and 2019 as a young, inexperienced but enthusiastic footballer. Saki had set his personal goal locked in, and that's to discipline himself, work hard at training and learn as much as he can to improve his game. After missing out on making the final squad in 2019, Saki humbly took it as a challenge and remained level-headed, working hard in his game at the DSL Cup level through the pandemic period between 2020 and 2022. Story short, perseverance, hard work and patience has eventually paid off for the Jiwaka lad.
I told my parents that I'm going to go, so they're really excited and enjoyed. That night they haven't slept, so we were awake all night till days. They're really proud of it. In Tumbe we're playing, it's like we are slowly building up, and when I get back to Gurias, I learn more things there, and probably coming back here is, I think, there are more to learn. Queensland Cup is a bit tough team, and everyone's expectation is high, so I think we have a lot to do.
Saki says, though precision training has been tough, he's always putting in 100% plus effort to his work, which is now paying off. Saki reflects back on his journey starting at Tumbe to the Gurias last year, admitting he's learned a lot from the experience to improve his game.
99 actually, yeah. I joined the team. I was new in the system, so probably I lack something which coaching staff they are not happy with it. So I think from now onwards I will polish up from it, and I'm looking forward to it. Where we still have a final cut. And
with the squad now trimmed down to 25, Saki is just working through the process by taking one thing at a time, but if he makes the final cut, he's ready to take it with both hands.
And that wraps up sports for now. Back to you, Mary.
Thank you, Terry. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water. Cough or sneeze into your elbow. And exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Have a safe weekend. Bye for now.
Bye.
The TVWAN News was proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.